Are we supposed to feel ashamed that our country is most populous now? Not really, because this most populous nation is also presently the most stable economy across the world. According to latest Bloomberg survey of economists, British Empire's United Kingdom has a recession probability of 75%, New Zealand 70%, United States of America 65%, Canada 60%, Australia 40%. These are developed nations at the brink of recession. India has zero probability of slipping into recession. Fingers crossed, nazar na lage. India has largely remained resilient compared to even Europe and the United States. Economists have also raised their expectations for a chance of recession in Taiwan, Australia, and the Philippines. In fact, the International Monetary Fund has raised 2023 economic outlook for Asia. It now sees India and China making up half of global growth. Half of global growth. But now see this. A cartoon in Germany's news magazine Der Spiegel published this mocking illustration on India. Yes, we need to get a grip on increasing population in India and spread more awareness because we do have limited resources. But the Western world needs to get its whole act together and in everything because their nations are at the brink of collapse and that may happen anytime soon with the recession. A quick comparison of Western India for you to understand what I mean. We are the 5th largest economy in the world today. Indicators suggest we could become 3rd largest economy by 2030. Importantly, India is one of the fastest growing economies and the World Bank expects the country to have a growth of around 6.3% for 2023-24. International Monetary Fund predicts the growth forecast of India in 2023 at about 5.9%. Germany's growth forecast is minus 0.1%, minus, and their inflation is rising to 6.2%. As per the IMF, economic slowdown is most pronounced in advanced economies. Inflation is falling slowly than they anticipated. So while the intention is to regularly humiliate India, the fact is we're also packed and resilient and jugadu. We may actually slowly but steadily reach the economical peak. And we will be holding the tricolour with pride in our hand when we beat the countries that love to mock us. India has an average age of 27, which is below global average, and that means if used well. If policymakers swing into action, use this enormous talent reserve, there can be a massive contribution to economy and employment by this young workforce. Not just as job seekers, but also as job generators, specifically with so many startups that are now emerging. Research shows that India is noticed now not just for its economy anymore, but also as one of the fastest growing fintech landscapes in the world, driven primarily by the advancement in digital payments. A recent report by PhonePe and Boston Consulting Group concluded that India's digital payments market will more than triple from $3 trillion to $10 trillion by 2026. Unified Payments Interface, which we know as UPI, has been India's flag bearer of the fintech revolution. We have been primarily a cash-based economy and now also leading the world in real-time digital payments. Hasn't Paytm become like our payment lifeline when we are cash-strapped? There is no worry anymore for that exact chutta change. India now accounts for almost 40% of all such digital transactions. Amid the COVID-19 pandemic, India was home to the highest number of real-time online transactions in 2020, ahead of countries even China and the USA. 25.5 billion real-time payments transactions were processed in India, followed by 15.7 billion in China, 6 billion in South Korea, 5.2 billion in Thailand, and 2.8 billion in the United Kingdom. Among the top 10 countries, the United States of America ranked 9th with 1.2 billion transactions. In fact, the US dollar as a currency exchange is witnessing a downtrend. The US dollar's decades-old dominance as a reserve currency, which is a medium of exchange or a unit of account, has received a major challenge as more and more developing countries are calling for de-dollarization, which means asking to reduce the reliance on the American dollar. Recently, you must know, Bangladesh has become the 19th nation to settle bilateral trade with India in the Indian rupees. Both the countries were in talks for months to give up the dollar and use their local currencies to clear transactions. India is also in talks with Iran now. The central bank that we have, the Reserve Bank of India, has allowed 18 countries, which include Germany, Kenya, Sri Lanka, Singapore, United Kingdom, and many other nations, to transact in rupee. So India is not so easily offended by these random illustrations that are intended to mock us, because while they are busy laughing at us, we are busier driving ahead to a destination of global peak, and we will have the tricolor in our hand. Thank you for watching.